Fortnite has had over 20 seasons throughout the years, so of course the player base has some pretty strong opinions on the seasons that we've received. So join me in today's video where we take a look at the most overrated seasons according to the Fortnite community, to determine if they're overrated like some people claim, or if they're truly worthy of their praise. Now before we start the video, YouTube is telling me that only 8% of you are subscribed to the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our uploads. So first up on the community list, we have Fortnite Season OG. It's no secret that this season is one that split the player base right down the middle. It was a nostalgic journey back to the game's roots, with the original Fortnite map as well as the original loot pool. For some, this return to the basics was a welcome change, taking Fortnite back to the way it used to be. However though, other players found it lacking in the innovations and variety that the more recent seasons had introduced to the game. Many of these players argue that the season is extremely overrated, as they claim that players are blind by nostalgia with Chapter 1, and that bias carried over to Fortnite OG. To this group of players, the season felt bland coming off of Chapter 3 and Chapter 4, which added a ton of new weapons to the game, as well as new gameplay features and much more. With all that said, in my personal opinion, I found Fortnite OG to be a refreshing throwback. The simplicity of the gameplay and the return of beloved points of interest really worked for me. And before you say it, the blind by nostalgia trope really doesn't apply to me, as I never consistently played the game back in Chapter 1. I simply enjoy the old weapons that we had during Chapter 1 as well as Chapter 2 a lot more than the weapons that we had in Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and Chapter 5. And that played a massive role in how much I enjoyed Fortnite OG, as every weapon felt very satisfying to use. So overall, I would say that Fortnite OG certainly wasn't overrated, as it was a fun season that showed us how far Fortnite has come, while also reminding us all of why we fell in love with the game to begin with. Next up on the list, we have Chapter 4 Season 4. Now upon its release, Chapter 4 Season 4 was regarded by many as the best season Fortnite had put out in some time. Players loved the new vault system, as well as some of the new weapons such as the infiltrator pump and the twin mag assault rifle. And of course, one of the best traversal items that Fortnite has ever come up with the rocket ram. However though, opinions on the quality of the season varied greatly within the community. One common critique of the season was the prevalence of enemy bots around the map. Not to mention, the map changes were a hot topic for the season, as the new POIs all felt very similar and were filled with bots. The battle pass also left players disappointed, and in my opinion, it was easily the worst battle pass in all of Chapter 4. And while I don't think that the season was bad overall, I do think the season had its fair share of issues. I really enjoyed the loot pool, as well as the vault systems, as I enjoyed the overall mechanic, and it made getting mythics feel very special. However, the season had the worst battle pass in Chapter 4, and the second half of the season really dragged out for me. So overall, I would have to agree that the season is overrated to some degree, as it certainly wasn't as great of a season that some people claimed it to be, but I definitely still enjoyed the season for what it was. Next up on the list, we have a recent season with Chapter 5 Season 1. From what I've seen on Twitter as well as in my comment section, Chapter 5 Season 1 stands out as one of the most polarizing seasons in Fortnite history. On one half, you have players who think it was peak Fortnite, and the other half thinks that it was a very overrated season. The criticisms of those players who think the season was overrated range from the map design, the loot pool, and the lack of variety in the point of interest. And also, the introduction of a new movement system didn't help, as it sparked widespread discontent among the player base. And it's something that players are still requesting Epic to reverse. Now Epic did go on to fix the movement to be a little faster later on in the season, while keeping the same animations. But despite their efforts, the season remained divisive. Now my personal opinion on Chapter 5 Season 1 is quite the opposite of overrated. I love the loot pool that we had during the season, and I didn't mind using any weapon that I found, well besides the Frenzy Auto Shotgun. I also love the battle pass, and I thought that the map was a very solid foundation for a new map. And while I will admit that I did dislike the movement at first, it's really started to grow on me, and I think that the change was for the best. So overall, I would say that Chapter 5 Season 1 is far from overrated, and the love that it received was very well deserved. And that leads us to our next season on the list with Chapter 2 Season 4. Chapter 2 Season 4 marked a departure from the Fortnite norm, as we had our first and only season that was centered around a collaboration. The season was themed around Marvel Comics, which meant every aspect of the new season was Marvel related. While some players embrace the crossover and think that the season is one of the best Fortnite seasons of all time, other players were less enthused by the integration of Marvel characters into the Fortnite universe. One issue that these players had was the season's focus on superpower mythics, which led to balance issues in the loot pool and shifted the gameplay dynamic away from traditional gun battles. On top of this, players were also annoyed that the battle pass was full of Marvel characters, but a lot of the items in the battle pass, such as pickaxes boxes, gliders, and even emotes were exclusive to the respective character, which meant that you could only use them if you equipped the skin. This caused a lot of complaints from players that didn't want to use any of the Marvel skins, and it's understandable why players were so angry, especially if the players weren't fans of Marvel. However though, for me, Chapter 2 Season 4 was a standout season, and it's easily one of my favorite seasons of all time. Being the huge Marvel fan that I am, the fact that I was able to unlock all of these classic Marvel characters for 950 V-Bucks was insane. I also love the Marvel mythics that we had in the loot pool, as I feel that those items are what make Fortnite so fun and makes Fortnite stand out against other Battle Royale titles. Not to mention, I also love the new additions that we had to the map, such as Doom's Domain and Stark Industries. So overall, the season felt like a huge love letter to both Marvel and their fans. And in my opinion, is certainly not overrated, as it earns its spot as one of the best Fortnite seasons that we've ever had. So make sure you let me know down in the comments below which of the seasons that we talked about are overrated, as well as some seasons that we didn't talk about. But until next time guys, as always, take care and stay twisty.